Arrow, my nigga. Niggas say Bucks for everything.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna keep it a buck.
But I'm telling you, Bucks did get eliminated first round last year.
I'm looking it up now.
You know it happened.
It happened, bro.
Pacers took them out.
Pascal.
It was not the first round.
Pascal had 40.
Who they beat in the first round?
Nigga, I'm lit.
Yeah, I know you lit, nigga. You chose Giannis to be best equipped to go against the Boston
Yeah,
Celtics.
that beat
I
anybody in
did.
the first round last year.
I think Milwaukee's a player off the bench. If I'm not mistaken, it's Bobby Portis and Pat Covington.
It's crazy.
If you depending on Pat Covington to give you anything, you highly mistaken, my nigga.
That kid hit a jumper.
Okay.
Jumping in 48 minutes. How we win this game? How we win it?
I'm telling you, that's why they got eliminated first round. Let me see. Did you looking it up?
Mm-hmm.
You know they got balance, nigga. You can keep looking.
Go ahead.
You can keep looking. You
Go
can switch
ahead.
the years up too. But that leads me to this question here. Well, it ain't gonna lead me to this question. I'm switching this shit up. Chris Paul. Shout out Chris Paul. I'm gonna start this off with shout out Chris Paul. The point guard became second all time in assists.
Oh, what?
All time in assists, only behind the great John Stockton. And it leads me to ask the fellas this. Where do y'all rank Chris Paul on the all-time point guard list? Let me before y'all answer that, let me put some things in the air. Point guard. Before y'all answer these questions, I want to ask y'all, what do y'all define as a point guard? Are y'all putting anybody who runs the one as a point guard, or are we talking a point guard?
It's a good question, Jay. I like it.
Cause if we talking anybody that runs the one, you putting players like Steph in there. You putting players like Kyrie. You putting players like Tim Hardaway. You putting players like Chauncey Billups, AI.
I think
AI kind of ran the two.
You know what I'm saying? But he ran the one.
You want to say something about that?
My thing about that is just like truthfully, anybody who's transcendent, like a Steph Curry, they're gonna be in. I put him more in the greatest player. Like he's more in that category because you're transcendent, bro. So you can fight for the greatest player of all type shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So
the point guard is the conversation,
I
though.
wouldn't.
So can Magic Johnson.
I wouldn't really put him.
Exactly.
Right. I wouldn't put him in that conversation. Truthfully.
But that's you dancing around the question. They answer it directly. Fuck that. They all point guards.
They're a point guard.
They all point guards. At the end of the day, they all point guards. Because you had that conversation about Magic back then, because he was a 6'9" guard. It's like, is he really a point guard? But they was like, yo, forget it. He's a point guard because he's running the offense.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when it's like when you transcend the game, like when you said transcended.
Yeah.
I thought this is what you was leaning to, but Steph Curry's the same way. He's still running the offense. He comes down, he throws the ball away, and then he runs around, but he still dictates the flow of the flow of the game. It's real based off predicated off his movement. It's not everybody else's. It's really his movement.
His movement, but a lot of Curry's movement is off ball.
Right. That's what I'm saying. His movement, exactly, to his movement. So he's still he's still
He's the engine that makes it go.
He's the engine that makes it go. The same way that Magic was the engine that made it go.
Yeah.
They're just doing it differently.
Yeah.
Point guards. It's just I think this is my definition of a point guard. This is how I define it. It's your job is to make sure your team scores. It doesn't have to it doesn't have to be by you. It had to be as long as your team scores, then you're doing your job as a point guard. And I think Steph Curry does that. I think Magic Johnson does that. Isaiah Thompson. All three of them play different type of roles.
Yeah, facts. I agree.
I want to ask the fellas a question.
It could be different.
I want to ask the fellas a question. Can I cook for a bit? This was not planned, but I want to do an impromptu. I'm going to name a player that's a point guard, and you just say CP, yes or no. So, Stockton. You taking Stockton over CP?
Stockton.
I'm taking
You
Stockton.
taking Stockton?
Taking Stockton.
Yeah, I think so.
Jason Kidd.
Kid.
Jason, you come
I'm
on,
saying
man.
Jason.
No, come on.
Steve Nash.
Nah, I'll take Chris Paul
I'm going
with Steve Nash.
CP too.
CP? Be truthful now.
My son Nash got 2 MVPs.
Oh!
So here's your shit. When Nash had his moment in the league,
Right.
his moment was when he had D'Antoni and Amari in 7 seconds. That was his moment, and he capitalized with 2 MVPs.
Right.
Chris Paul's moment was when he had DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin. Lob City, we lit.
So you think that was the best Chris Paul?
That was
That's
his
Chris
moment
Paul.
when the
That was-
NBA
yeah.
set him up. Like, yo, this is your moment. Go dominate. He did. Nash did better. So I'm going to have to give it to Nash.
Even though not hypothetically speaking, but a lot of people say Nash don't deserve those 2 MVPs.
Oh, that's a different conversation.
I'm
As
just saying,
far
I
as,
put it out there.
running the league and, yo, this is your moment to shine. Because that's pretty much what their careers max out to. That's all it is. Their moment to shine.
Mm-hmm.
If anything I give CP3 is where his moment was over, he did leadership role that Nash didn't do. Now, CP3 had the OKC moment. He had moments where
Nash
he had
got
leadership.
old and got old quick.
He had a lot of
injuries.
So that's the only thing I was like, that's when it becomes a conversation.
Yeah.
But Nash, I don't know. I might have Nash because Nash had his moment was better than CP3.
That's a good one, yo. In the comments, yo, who you got? Nash, CP3. Who would you take? Matter of fact,
I probably prefer Nash, but I can't disrespect Chris Paul. I'm gonna go Chris Paul.
It's a conversation.
What about Oscar Robertson?
What's an old dog, bro? That's an old dog because he was running the 60s, and then when he finally got that big man, he made it right. So his big man was Kareem, but either or, it's just making sure that if you're that guy, and then you get another guy, you got to make sure that guy feels like he's that guy. CP3 doesn't let that guy feel like he's that guy. So Oscar Robertson did it.
as Blake.
Yeah.
What you think, Jay? Oscar or CP?
I got a Big O.
Big O?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I thought you would have won CP, honestly.
I mean, it's there. Like, well, Big O won a chip, right?
He won a chip. He got the triple dub.
But you know what's funny to your point about Steph Curry? I agree with you, bro. But not all these point guards do that shit.
Do what? What
Like,
specifically?
when they off the ball,
Oh, yeah.
put that still got that pressure on the defense. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I respect a nigga like Trae Young. He still put that pressure on the defense. I want the ball, but you better watch out. I get the ball, I make something happen.
Type shit.
You know what I'm saying? So I respect that, man.
Yeah.
But honestly, bro, Chris Paul, you gonna get flowers from us only for the simple fact you 6 foot, my nigga. Respect, man.
I ain't giving them damn flowers. He was on that damn banana
I
boat.
asked the real question then. So you asked, what's the
yeah,
real point guard? So
I'm about to
what's
say
the
we
real
got
No,
wait
no,
on a
no.
minute, but what do you rank Chris Paul all time?
question? I want to hear what that was.
That was I told you that was gonna put everybody that won a championship first, and then everybody who didn't after that.
Dellavedova.
So yeah, Chauncey going over Chris Paul, but I can guarantee you going over Chris Paul. And
Well, you got I bet. So you don't gotta give an exact number, but like top 5, top 10,
yeah, where?
top 15.
I ain't gonna unless you got him in a specific number, you can just tell me if you got him top 5, top 10, top 15. And I don't think a lot of point guards want to find those MVPs.
Chris Paul, where you got the point guard? Where you
Point
got Chris?
guard.
The point guard. Where you got Chris Paul at?
He's sweating, y'all. Y'all can't see. He's sweating right now.
I'm fucking crying. No, you're
I'm
not.
definitely not.
Chris Paul, Lob City. He turned it up.
Listen, right? I don't want to be disrespectful because what these two fuckers are doing, we've had this conversation countlessly offline before we even started this podcast. This goes back before we even came up with the pod, right? And we used to have these debates about Chris Paul and Jason Kidd and him eventually passing Kidd in the assists. And Jarvis thinks that puts him higher on the list, but whatever. I'll give him a respectful top 10. I don't know where he falls in that 10, but a respectful 10.
I'm not mad at that.
He
That's
could-
100% valid.
He could be number 8.
Yeah, I bet.
Ain't gonna
Before
lie.
we go back to
That's 40.
that, you had it for a moment, but you had one. Let me go back to what you was doing. You were saying names, but one name we didn't bring up is Rondo. Chris Paul and Rondo, what we doing?
I'm going Rondo every day of the week.
Chris Paul and Rondo,
Rondo
what we doing?
brings
Jay?
chips.
Yo. The
Rondo
thing is,
bring
yo,
chips,
y'all,
nigga.
y'all talking about disrespecting so much, my nigga. And you see, this is what you do. This is what you do. You bring up people like Rondo against Chris Paul, and then you bring him up Rondo against Chris Paul. Then if I say Chris Paul, you would think that I'm disrespecting Rondo.
100%.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
But it's really. You talking about the overtime list?
No, all time point guard.
Are you crazy?
No, Rondo deserves his flowers though.
No, you see, but this is the reason. Like, this is the reason I'm talking about.
I didn't put him over Chris Paul. I just said he deserves his
But
flowers.
they gonna think if I say what I want to say. If I say what I want to say,
I did not.
Yes, you did.
if I say what I want to say, people gonna be like, "Oh, he disrespect." He gonna say I'm disrespecting Rondo. Before I answer it, Rondo to me, when it came to doing his job,
Don't say nothing crazy.
no,
Don't say nothing
Rondo
crazy.
did what he did. We
Okay.
know what Rondo did. Like, he was at his time, he was one of the greatest playmakers of his time. Defending, he would play both sides. High IQ basketball player.
Up there with LeBron.
If you're talking on the all-time list, him and Chris Paul are not in the same tier. If he's not in the same tier, you out of your mind. You disrespecting Chris Paul,
you're
even
right.
putting
You're right.
Rondo
You're right.
in that same
You're right.
conversation,
You're
my
right.
nigga. Chris
Rondo
Paul,
has never won it.
Chris Paul done it better,
Done
longer
what better?
than Rondo.
Done what better?
Answer it. What did Chris Paul
Done
do?
what better?
What did Rondo do?
What did Chris Paul do better?
Hold on.
No. I want to know what he did better.
Before I answer that question, what does Rondo do?
How you gonna flip it on us? You said it.
No, I'm not. Before I answer mine, what does Rondo do?
Let-
What does he do great?
Lead his team better. Pass better.
What team Rondo led?
New Orleans. He led that better.
With Boogie.
Yeah. He led that better.
Better
AD.
than Chris Paul
Yeah.
did in OKC.
Yeah, so the hot
and in New Orleans
exactly. So the example is the hot team.
and Clippers.
The hot team that was up and coming was the Trailblazers, right? The
Right.
hot team that was up and coming during Chris Paul time was the Golden State Warriors. When it comes to competition, Golden State, it wasn't
You
that.
said the Trailblazers.
Yeah, when Dame McCollum.
Right, that was the
fucking
year.
shit up.
That was the year.
Yeah,
2018.
backcourt.
2018 was the year when it's like, I bet we're about to turn this shit over. And then they was having some hiccups prior to it, but it was more about the development of CJ. CJ was making that turn, and then you had other players. You had other players that was, complementary pieces. But Damian Lillard was making that turn. I think that's when he started his fasting and shit like that. And all of that, as far as just like details. But that's when they was making that turn. But Rondo was the one who led that shit and knocked all of them. He swept them. You know what I mean? Swept them. And not just New Orleans. He did that shit in Sacramento. He did that shit when he was a young buck on the Celtics.
He did it in Sacramento.
In Sacramento. Can I pitch out on Sacramento?
Nah, I remember Sacramento. Rondo.
Yeah, I remember.
First of all,
Boogie.
let me hold on. Yo, first of all,
What you let that team do?
he didn't lead them to anything because the real shit happened
What are
was
we talking about?
because I'm talking about his
What are you talking
leadership.
about?
We talking
We
about
talking about
leadership.
Rondo in Sacramento.
No, because we talking.
Just like how you talk about Chris Paul and San Antonio.
Nah, y'all not.
No, we didn't bring that up.
Nah.
Okay, I said OKC.
Nah, bro. See, Rondo.
You see, y'all gonna make me feel Rondo in New Orleans. That Rondo is. If it wasn't for Rondo, no lie to me, AD and Boogie would have worked.
They would
Oh,
Watch Rondo was sacked. Rondo didn't get a
I
full
ain't say he
season.
didn't do
No,
that
but
in
listen,
sack.
but
You saw what he doing.
but get the context in it. Rondo came to sack after he had the whole shit with Dallas. After the Rick Carlisle, so he didn't have
After the Rick Carlisle.
So after the whole bullshit was going on, and this is before he came to Dallas. This is when he had the injury. So this is when he was supposed to turn it around. So this was the narrative. So when he came to sack, this is half the season, and then he finally made Boogie Cousins look like something. You know what I'm saying? That's the best Boogie Cousins ever looked.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, no, but
we're not gonna deny it.
It's real quick. I'm gonna pass the mic. I'm gonna pass the mic real quick. But it's that sack situation is one of those things where if you're looking at one of these mid teams right now in the league, like for example, like Atlanta. Atlanta's gonna make noise, but they like a mid-tier team.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking at the details in that team, you can be like, yo, this year they did some shit, and if you ain't pay attention, you ain't know.
Yeah, that's what
But
I'm saying.
It's the same shit when Neymar went to sack. It's the same shit when he like it's like details like that in the NBA that you gotta pay attention to. Rondo made noise throughout his whole career.
I feel the same way when Chris Paul went to OKC. They thought that team
Right.
was down.
Nah, you're right.
Down the road.
You're right.
But Chris Paul, because of him,
Nobody had that
SGA
team winning shit.
SGA became who he is. Not saying that SGA wasn't going to become who he is, but that mentorship that Chris Paul gave him.
They were playoff team or playing.
Shit.
When Chris Paul, they were playoff.
SGA came for real with Pat Bev, for real.
Pat
Bev
Bev.
and Lou Williams. That's when he really got
Pat
that
Bev
dog.
is a locker room guy. I say Pat Bev brings that dog out of you. Like those players to me, when you got high intangibles,
It wasn't Chris Paul, it was Pat Bev.
It's certain things you bring to the table that a lot of people can't bring. Pat Bev, to me, he brings an intangible that a lot of players in the NBA can't
Because
bring.
SGA was doing that before Chris Paul. He started doing that when Pat Bev and Lou Will came out.
In
LA.
LA.
Yeah.
I said it. SGA was gonna become SGA regardless. To me, the game slowed down a bit for SGA when he got with Chris Paul. It slowed down for him, and he started learning. And he said it in plenty of interviews that Chris Paul taught him a lot. Just being under his wing made him who he is today. And shout out Chris Paul for that. I'm not disrespecting Rondo because Rondo, and you know I hated Rondo because he was great. I hated Rondo because he was going up against my hero. Rondo to me was the guy who scared me the most when it came to the Boston Celtics because he just put them in positions to win.
Nigga had Kendrick Perkins looking like that nigga, bro.
But it's comparing longevity to what Chris Paul has been doing for longer, and he's been doing it better than Rondo.
He hasn't been doing it better. He hasn't been doing it better. Rondo has been doing it better as far as being in that leadership position and having niggas follow your.
He hasn't played that role to the level Chris Paul has played.
To the level
I'm gonna tell you about leadership. This is the real shit about leadership. You have when you big dog around little niggas, it's easy for the little niggas to follow your lead. But when you big dog around big dogs and they follow you, when you big dog around LeBron James, you big dog around Kevin Garnett.
You would never big dog around LeBron James. Stop it.
Huh?
Stop it.
They won a chip, you wildin', bro.
Rondo is one of the
He's
key
the one
pieces
thing he
LeBron
respect.
attributes that championship.
So
to.
he was big dog and
He was big. Yeah,
Wow.
he been big
He's
dog.
the reason
He
they
was
won that
big dog
shit.
prior to that. Rondo been big dog since his second year when he went under KG and wing. So fuck that big dog. Rondo been big dog. But Rondo been big dog around all these pieces. You know what I'm saying? But those are the big.
Who else he been big dog? You said
LeBron James. That's the major.
He was big
leagues.
dog on LeBron's team. Who else?
KG, Paul Pierce. These are the top
Ray
10.
Allen.
Ray Allen, big. I mean, yeah. Ray
He was
Allen,
big dog there, D?
Those are the big.
Uh-huh.
He was big dog there?
He became. Remember, it transitioned from the big three to the big four.
Facts. He just had to put Rondo on that.
He was the big dog.
He was the big dog.
Niggas was calling him Scrappy Doo at the time.
So you got the little niggas, you got the big dogs, you got the mid tier, you got the Boogie Cousins, not to disrespect type shit, but you got the Boogie Cousins, you got the Brandon Ingram, and you got all of these dudes who like developing the big dogs, or they like just where they at, and they still gravitate towards them compared to Chris Paul. This is just me talking bullshit, but it's just like Chris Paul, he doesn't get that recognition from his peers like how Rondo does. And with that, Rondo get those. For example, the best game Rondo ever had, in my opinion, is when he played Golden State Warriors in 2019 when LeBron James went down. He had all the young bucks around him before AD came through. This was on Christmas Day. This was one of those big games. Ron went down, and then Rondo had it was up by a lot, and then Golden State came back, and then Rondo led that charge. Like Rondo could lead the charge with little niggas on the court. You know what I'm saying? Chris Paul against, you know what I'm saying? Chris
So
Paul.
never done that. Okay, see.
Chris Paul is he's gonna win those regular season games, but when it gets to the playoffs, he's gonna make noise and shit like that. But it's cool.
He's right.
You know what I'm saying?
He right. So
not.
peep this. No, I get what he's saying. So like I get what you're saying. I get what D's saying. So in the sense of like in the off season, I mean the playoffs, Rondo's play levels up. In the playoffs, Chris Paul's play goes down.
Facts.
And it's like essentially they meet right here. So you can't
When
go.
did Chris Paul play go down the playoffs?
What you 3-1?
Plenty of times.
3-1? The Clippers lost 3-1. I'm bugging.
Yeah.
No, they did.
That's when, bro, he fucked up mad. So the Houston, he did a no-show. I could go on and on.
He has a lot of no shows when it came to the clutch. Like he doesn't show up in the clutch. You see it in his face.
OKC team.
You can see it in his face.
Expected that. Didn't expect
He gets nervous and shit like that. You can see it in his face like a motherfucker, Chris Paul.
Alright. Because to me, when every team Chris Paul has been in, he's always been the one. He's always been 1A. Never been. Y'all comparing. I hate when y'all do that too. Like y'all compare niggas that don't have the responsibility to Rondo don't get guarded like Chris Paul.
But when did
Chris Paul has, when you look at him, if Rondo fails in the playoffs, we letting it go. Period. If Chris Paul fails in the playoffs, y'all would say what he just said.
I never held Chris Paul to that standard.
You just did. You just said he's a playoff choker.
No, bro, think about it. To your point, if you're the number one player on your team,
and
you have to win.
And that's what I just said. You holding somebody. You comparing him to somebody that if they failed in the playoffs like Rondo did, you wouldn't have blinked an eye. You would just.
I didn't hold that finals loss on Chris Paul in the Suns.
But I'm saying like if Rondo was to have the same performances,
I blame Aiden, bro.
If Rondo was to have the same performances as Chris Paul, y'all wouldn't even blink an eye.
I don't know.
I hear what you're saying.
If Chris Paul has the same performance,
everybody would be
but
the thing is,
not different.
Chris Paul never had a Rondo-like performance in the playoffs.
Because
We don't call Chris Paul playoff Paul or some shit like that. We call Rondo playoff Rondo. Like Rondo created that name for himself based off his performance. Chris Paul never created that name for himself. We always was like, yo, he needs a second piece. He needs this. He needs that. He needs something is wrong. But with Rondo, he's doing everything right. What is it? Why are you performing well? What are you doing so well?
So for the record, because I bring this up on this, and I need this for the record. You got Rondo over Chris Paul in the all-time point guard list. I need it right now, because y'all was talking crazy. I need it right now. You got Rondo over Chris Paul on the all-time point guard list. Yes or no, D?
Say yeah, nigga.
Say yes, because you were just defending Rondo. I need that yes right now.
Of course I defend Rondo.
For argument's sake. You got Rondo over Chris Paul on the all-time point guard list.
In time.
What you say?
Your answer is yes, and your answer is yes. I just needed it for argument's sake.
Hey, man.
Absolutely, Rondo.
It's straight point guard play.
Because at the end of the day, it comes to winning.
So when you got Chris Paul at?
Rondo gonna win.
And
I got him in the top 10.
Like number-wise, if you had to put a number on it.
Go get a Stevie.
Maybe like 7, 8.
Where would you have Rondo?
I don't got him in the top 10.
He's not in your 10?
No.
So, but if you go,
not only is he not in the top 10, he's not even close.
that's crazy. Because if you go through your top 10, if you got Chris Paul at your 8, if you go through your top 10 point guards, then that means you're gonna have to bring Chris Paul down. Because who the hell you got at 5 to 7?
Yeah, I would like that.
I got a couple of
I gotta hear that list. Because who the hell you got at 5 to 7? You're gonna have to bring Chris Paul down if you don't got Rondo in between.
Just because
Rondo's not even in my top 15.
But there's nobody in between. Like who you got at 5 and 7?
Just because I like to get messy, right?
Let's start
You
naming.
think we could get a unanimous 10?
Let's start naming them.
No, a unanimous 10 from all 4 of us.
Like he's top 10?
Yeah, yo, nigga.
I got him top 10.
We listen.
Yeah.
Steph, Magic. So
He's
who's the next 8?
I bet you got Isaiah Thomas. This is what I want to do. You got Isaiah Thomas.
That's 3.
Hold on. You got Oscar Robinson.
Right.
Okay, that's 4.
I got names.
Kid is in there.
5.
You got Rondo. You got Jason Kidd.
You already
Well,
said Nash.
pause on the Rondo. Pause on the Rondo.
Who chose Nash? You chose Nash actually.
But I don't got Nash in my. I don't
Top
got Nash
10?
over.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't have Nash. I got Nash and Chris Paul tied, but I don't have Nash.
Wait, we brought
over
Stockton
Chris
up
Paul.
already?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Magic, Steph,
You can put
Kidd.
Isaiah Thomas.
Jason Kidd, Isaiah Thomas,
Yeah.
Big O, you can put him in there.
Oscar Robinson.
That's fine.
That's not
You
Stockton.
can put him in there.
Stockton now 6.
Stockton is 6.
Okay.
So
Who's 7? Who's 8?
7, 8, 9, 10.
After Stockton, I got
You got 4 slots.
after Stockton, it's different because now you're throwing in the hybrids in there.
You're gonna have to bring Chris Paul down if you
That's
feel
what
that
I'm
way.
saying.
Nah, I put Chris Paul in there.
Exactly.
That's
So
what
then
I'm saying.
you're gonna have to have Chris Paul at 7 then.
Yeah, I got him. I said him like 7, 8. I got Chris
He
Paul.
did. We got 4 spots. What are we doing? Chris Paul's still out there. Rondo's still out there.
I got Rondo
Nash is
before.
out
I got
there.
Rondo before Chris Paul for sure. But another.
Bob Cousy's still out there.
No, you got Mark Jackson up there. Mark Jackson is top 3 in assists. He's top 3 in assists before Chris Paul. So right now he's 4. But Mark Jackson is up there. That's supposed
Wait.
Yo,
Yo,
let's go through it. Y'all bugging up. As far as point guards,
As
we're living in the point
guards,
guard era. So,
all-time point guards.
yes,
y'all.
all-time point guards. Let's go through it. Through the 60s. Who was the point guard?
Wait.
Y'all laughing, but let's talk about it.
I want to talk, but D, yo.
No, it's not real. It's not a joke. It's real shit.
That shit is a joke.
It's not a joke. Y'all disrespecting me. We live in New York. Y'all niggas is laughing.
Oh, dude.
That's wild. Mark Jackson is up there. Y'all laughing. Mark Jackson is up there.
Top 10?
No,
Podcasters?
No, for real. Think about it. So if you go through the 60s, who's the top point guard?
Wait.
Oscar Robertson. Who else? You
He's on the list already.
Exactly. You're gonna have Bob Cousy. We're not putting him on the list because he ate off of Bill Russell. All right, bet. So let's
Who's
go.
this not going on?
All right, so on the 70s, who's the top point guards?
Mr. West.
No,
He's two guard.
Walt
Frazier. We're not putting him up there, right?
Walt. Oh
Exactly.
my God.
We're not
I'm
gonna put him
sorry.
up there.
Yeah.
He
So
got
let's go through
I'm
the-
like,
Niggas in New York.
Why not Walt Frazier?
I'm not saying he shouldn't.
Hold on.
Walt Frazier.
We playing Mark Jackson up there, and you just throwing away more Walt Frazier. Like,
Because Walt Frazier played.
can't let these
Walt
names
Frazier-
die, y'all.
Because this is when niggas study basketball, they say Walt Frazier. They say that New York team played. That was the smartest basketball team of history.
Midi
so Walt
monster.
Frazier, they say Walt Frazier. It wasn't just Walt Frazier dominating by himself as an underguard. No, he had Willis Reed. He had all of these niggas.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I don't think we got Walt Frazier up there. So if we go through,
Is he unanimous though?
He's unanimous.
Walt Frazier.
on what?
Point guard list.
Hell
No.
yeah.
I was just saying
man.
he's throwing away Walt Frazier, but then bringing
Top
up Mark
10.
Jackson and shit.
Top
So I was
10.
just like,
Mark Jackson is a no for me.
so is it Walt Frazier in the top 10?
Unanimous for Walt Frazier?
Hell yeah.
Nah, not unanimous. I gotta
He
think.
one of the first bucket getting
I
guards.
gotta think about that one.
Earl Monroe. All right, now we about
We can debate it. We can debate it.
Cause then now what?
KB technically the point guard.
But Walt Frazier don't got a game like Kyrie. He don't got a game like Isaiah Thomas. He got like he's a methodical point guard. But he's not on that level of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson is able to do that and get top 3 point guard.
Where you got Rondo in your top 10?
I got him 7.
7 all time.
Yeah,
come
all
up.
time.
yeah, 7.
You got him. What you got him 7 too?
I don't know.
You got him
Where
at 7?
I don't know where I would put Rondo.
You got him at 7?
I got him.
Nah, I don't know
I
why
got Rondo like 6'5".
That's why I'm doing this with y'all now. I don't know.
Nah, I got Rondo running out 10 for me.
Rondo at 10.
But you know what I'm saying?
We
Like
still stuck on Walt Frazier.
But exactly. So it's not too many point guards in the 70s. In the 80s, what's the point guard?
Magic.
Exactly. And
And Isaiah.
And then in the 90s, we got John Stockton. What else we got? We got Gary Payton.
But we brought up
GP over
Marky
CP.
Jack.
Mark
Marky
Jackson.
Jack before Gary Payton.
I like.
No, we're going to do
We're going
it.
through the year.
We gonna do it.
Seriously.
So I like Gary Payton too. I like Gary Payton.
Are we
over
putting
Mark.
Gary Payton before Chris Paul?
Yeah.
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 He made it to the finals.
So
Facts.
that's what?
And then
3 slots left.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They just lost.
Keep going with the list. 2000.
So in the 90s,
No, 90s.
who else we got in the 90s? We got John Stockton. We got
Draper Kid.
we got Gary Payton. Who else we
Hold
got?
on, I'll tell you right now. 90s.
Tim Hardaway.
I'm not putting Tim Hardaway.
You not put Tony Parker over CP?
No, Tim Parker was more like 2000s, right?
I'm not playing Tony.
Tony Parker's tough, but I'm not.
Tough for what?
He's tough. He was a very good player. I'm not putting him over CP.
Facts, absolutely not.
Rondo earned that shit. Rondo is in this argument conversation.
bro. He's
for
in
sure.
there,
You
bro.
may not like this, bro.
He's in there like a
in this
motherfucker.
conversation.
But listen, and to your point, Tony Parker does have a Finals MVP, so I don't want to hear shit.
Pitt Rondo.
Well, that's-
I don't like doing
y'all-
that.
y'all do
Nah,
that.
yeah,
Y'all do
win
that.
this
I
shit.
don't
I'm
do
not
that. I
going
don't
to
do
win
that.
this shit. I promise.
I figured Tony Parker would have been high on y'all list.
Hell no.
But to me,
Hell
but to
no.
me,
Hell no.
and see, that's why I'm not a
Hell no.
I put him in the top.
I don't-
Chaser.
and I don't
Chaser.
Nah, hell no. Remove Tim Duncan. Remove Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich from Tony Parker. Then what do we get? We get a whack ass French nigga. That's all we get.
I mean,
a fast ass nigga who can't play defense.
But
nigga, bro.
Hold on.
6'2", Dick
You
Platoon.
can say the same thing. Like you remove Braun and AD.
No,
You
no.
remove the
Before we go too
No,
far,
no, because you get Rondo everywhere. Because when you get
When you
Rondo,
put him, he has success.
Wait.
Hold on, wait a minute. Where did you put him? Where did you? You said Sacramento.
anywhere he went, he had success.
You said Sacramento.
Wait.
It was a half a season.
Before we go
If you
too
feel
far,
with the coach, they
wait.
go.
Before we go too far down the rabbit hole,
Hold on, let me answer
we
that.
got 3 spots left.
Hold on. You said it means something. You said.
I'll answer that, but you said
locker
that.
room
You
coach
said
and
you,
men's
no, but
side.
I answered what you said.
He beefed with 2 coaches though. He beefed with he left Boston Celtics because he was beefing with the organization.
Who is he coaching with right now? As of today,
What you mean?
who is he helping coach right now?
JJ.
No, Rondo. Who's Rondo helping coach right now?
Doc Rivers.
No, Doc Rivers.
Right. So who is he feuding with? You talking about he feuded with Doc? That's a bullshit.
Hold on.
That's
We
I'm
not-
smart, you
wait.
smart, and then who's
Wait,
smarter? That's
hold
all
on.
that shit
We're
was.
We're gonna deny that Rondo didn't have beef with the Boston organization before he left.
But that's bullshit.
Yeah,
It
that
That
was
wasn't
bullshit
what
beef.
Doc he's saying.
It was bullshit. If anything,
No,
his
I'm
beef-
saying that because he's big on if you a locker room coach, cancer and shit. But then Rondo, he
but
brings
when you
Rondo
top
up
dog, it's the
one
same
time.
shit with LeBron. It's the same shit with Jordan. It's the same shit with Kobe.
Jimmy Butler's like that too.
Wait.
Nah, but I don't have beef with it.
When you
Hold on,
up,
time out.
with certain people, when you
Yeah.
up, it's like I want to make these moves, and this is how we're gonna. That's all that shit is. It's Bron saying I want to make these moves. Dan
But-
Gilbert.
no,
It's
no.
Jordan saying I want to make these moves. Jerry Crouch. It's the same shit.
No,
We got 3 spots left.
Go ahead.
Who do we got?
Wait, hold on. I'm arguing this real quick. Because he's saying that same shit with Tony Parker, or if you remove Tim Duncan away from him, like Rondo's success didn't come from Hall of Famers. They didn't come from
his
LeBron and
success
AD.
came-
They didn't come from KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen.
But that's
and Doc.
bullshit. His success came
when
anywhere
did
he
he
went.
prove
Not
that?
just yes,
Because he didn't improve that in Sacramento.
Yes, he did.
He didn't
You
have
just didn't
success
watch-
over there.
Yes, he did.
He
You
didn't have
just-
they didn't do nothing in Sacramento.
They had half a season, and then they progressed. And then the following year, then they was able to make trades. That was a successful year for Sacramento. Half of that season was successful. You got
But
to
it
watch
wasn't
it.
success. When you comparing it to other teams, I mean,
It wasn't championship success, obviously, because you don't got championship pieces. But it was a success. It was a successful season when you got Rondo coming half a season, and then you make it progression. Now we can trade these pieces, and then Rondo left that situation, and he went to New Orleans, and then he turned that situation, and then they made noise. Shit, like fuck it, like if Boogie Cousins, if he didn't get injured, that probably would have been the best opportunity to beat Golden State Warriors. Like, no, listen, you got to put everything in the context. It's not just straight bullshit. Rondo was dominating throughout his whole career. He dominated when he left Boston. He went to Dallas. It was the feud. Then he went to Sac. It was lit. And then he went to New Orleans. It was lit. Then he went to Lakers. They won. He been lit his whole career. His whole entire career. No bullshit.
That's what I'm saying. He's fought for that. A nigga like Chris Paul, I respect, but he was in it's like somebody that's went to school, the kid that got the sponsorships, he got this, he got that, he's supposed to be there. And then you got this dude over here who doesn't have any of that, and he's in the same exact room. I respect it. You gotta, whoever you got, guys, whether you fuck
Nigga, he don't got the jump shot. He don't got all of this shit. He don't got the natural charisma like that Chris Paul got. He's not likable like Chris Paul, but he got these people on his side. Why he got these people on his side? Why is he
My
winning?
thing that I hate is you accept the bare minimum for the players you like, but then throw it in other players' face. Because how do you say he went there half a season and it was a success because they progressed? Then went on to New Orleans, mind you. New Orleans went to the playoffs. Everybody got injured, so they ain't had no success. You claiming the what if as a successful moment. Because nothing he did in New Orleans except that group play he did in the regular season when you said when he's playing competition where it's not up to par like in the playoffs. They didn't have a chance to do that in the playoffs. But they didn't do it, and you using the what if to satisfy your point.
It's not a what if.
It is a what if.
I'm saying what he did
But that wasn't successful.
What he did was sufficient enough. What he did was valid. That's all I'm saying. Whatever player that you trying to say that I don't do it for, that's all it is. That's all the conversation is about. But as far as Rondo specifically, in these situations, it's not a what if. In these situations when he did it, it was sufficient. He proved his point, and he moved on. Throughout his whole career, when he first came into the league, he won, and then he got injured, and then he like I said like 5 minutes ago, like he always showed throughout his whole career that he was able to do. He was always able to win, and that's all it is. At that big stage, are you able to win?
I'm not denying he was a winner. He was definitely a winner. But when you comparing 1C niggas to 1A niggas,
He's not a
it's
1C
it's
nigga.
not.
He's not a 1C nigga here. He's not a 1C nigga here.
All right,
The
but
shit
in
started with
none
him.
of the teams that he's been on, he's never had the pressure to be like, yo, it was Rondo's fault.
Shit, look
I don't
at
go
all.
that far.
Man, look at all the games when it was playoff, where it was do or die, whatever situation, where it's New Orleans. He had 21 assists or some shit like that. Like when he swept, when it was time to beat these niggas, this is when he showed up. When he played Golden State, he had the ball in his hand. He was still dictating. He lost.
Can I ask you a question?
He's a 1A
Can I
type
ask
of
you a
dude.
question? If Boston would have lost those chips in back in 08, 09, who you would blame?
It damn sure have been wrong.
Answer.
In 2008, you're
Hold
not
on,
playing
hold
Rondo.
on. Answer.
So that's
Answer the question.
hold on.
Who would you have blamed?
We
2000, when did Rondo
2000
come in the league?
He was a
2000
rookie.
when they
So,
won,
when they won it, that
when they
would
won
have
it
been
to
second
when
year.
they won it in 2008. That would have been on Paul Pierce
Exactly.
and Kevin Garnett.
How about 2008? I mean 2009, 2010.
Then he would have been a part of that. Yes,
Who would you have blamed?
2010.
I would have put Rondo in the mix to blame. Yes, because he stepped up.
Those years the Clippers didn't win it. Who you blame?
That's a
Blame
combination
Griffin.
of injuries.
Stop, I'm gonna start
Blame
having this
Blake
conversation
Griffin,
because y'all
Chris
start
Paul.
thinking.
You
I'm not
blaming
gonna
Chris
do
Paul and Blake
I'm not gonna do that.
Griffin.
Y'all
Blaming Blake
thinking-
Griffin and Chris Paul. So
I'm not pumping.
you talking about 2008 when Rondo was in his second year, and then 2010
No,
when
I only mentioned 2008 because I'm only mentioning the successful years you was talking
no,
about.
but that was his second year. But we talking about Chris Paul after he got traded when he was supposed to be a star. He was supposed to be a star piece. These are not equivalent pieces.
No, what my
so
point.
let's make it equivalent.
All right, the point I was making is, in every step that Chris Paul has taken since he got drafted, if they lost, that team lost, the one person you blaming was Chris Paul. And you not denying, even during the Lob City days, during the Houston days, during the OKC days, even now and during the New Orleans days, every stop he's been on, if there was one person to blame, you was going to blame him regardless of what it was. There's no situation Rondo was in that if they would have failed, you would have been like, yo, Rondo didn't do what he had to do.
100% sure, but you 100% right about
So the
that.
pressure,
But
to
that-
me, the pressure is different. You can't put. That's why I don't compare the both. I don't compare both of them. To me, they both great point guards, and they did what they did. But to me, the pressure was a lot different on Chris Paul than it was on Rondo.
But see, that's the different conversation. The whole point of it is who is the number one, who's the top point guard. So when your job as a point guard, so for Chris Paul to have all this pressure is the reason why he's not the number one point guard. Because for an example, Isaiah Thomas, Detroit did not have this type of pressure because he relieved that pressure because he's smarter than that. Chris Paul did not ever relieve his pressure. He had Blake Griffin. He never relieved his pressure. He had Jamal Crawford. He never relieved that pressure. So why is all the pressure on him? Because he want to put that pressure on him. That's the type of player that he decides to be with his life. When you watch Chris Paul, he's dominating the ball majority
No,
of the
that
time.
pressure came because he was the best player on every single one
No,
of his
because
squads.
he wants to dominate the ball when he plays his basketball. When he
Yes,
plays
the
basketball. So
Clippers.
this is the reason why the shit is gonna be on him. If you want to make
But
this
he was
shit,
also the best player on those squads. Right?
Why is he better than Blake Griffin?
Are we
Right.
agreeing with that?
If Isaiah Thomas
He
is
is
playing
better
with
than Blake, but he shouldn't be.
if Isaiah Thomas is playing with Blake Griffin, I promise Isaiah Thomas is gonna make sure Blake Griffin has way more responsibility
Facts.
than Chris Paul has.
Blake Griffin was a 20-point per game scorer.
But Blake Griffin ate off
And
of
he-
Chris Paul.
And he exactly.
No, but Blake Griffin was supposed to
Blake
eat.
Griffin didn't even get his skill until he got to Detroit.
Chris Paul was supposed to eat off of Blake Griffin.
Or displayed it.
That's
rather.
telling.
But either or, Rondo ate off of these niggas, or they ate off of Rondo.
That's telling.
Either or, before we go further down this rabbit hole, there's 3 spots left. We didn't put Chris Paul or Rondo in this bitch.
No,
So-
Chris Paul's 7.
We didn't put him.
We didn't see.
We did not.
John Stockton is 6. Chris Paul's 7.
That was unanimous?
No matter of fact, Gary
It's
Payton
not
is 7.
unanimous. It's not unanimous.
It's not unanimous that Chris Paul was in there.
I don't got Chris Paul over Rondo. I like winning, and winning is always gonna do it. And if you could lead your shit, it's about 4 categories.
It was-
If you could
uh,
maximize those 4 categories, then we lit.
We-
He didn't even the category that Chris Paul is supposed to lead in, which is leadership. He never did that. So
We
fuck that shit.
paused on Walt Frazier.
We pump fake on Ward.
Ward's like he's up there behind Chris, or he might be ahead of
We
Chris.
didn't put Chris on the list though. There's 3 spots left.
He's number 7 for me.
Is that unanimous? We putting Chris on?
Nigga, we
Not-
said unanimous in the 10. We not gonna be unanimous on the 7th. We're gonna go another 30 minutes.
No, I'm cool.
Three on the map.
I'm cool. I'm just saying.
Who's the
I'm
2000 point
sitting
guard?
here flabbergasted.
2000 point guard?
Our list has Mark Jackson over Chris.
We didn't put Mark Jackson.
Look, I'm disgusted by y'all list. First of all, I'm disgusted by y'all.
We just came to it together.
I'm
Nah, I didn't
disgusted
say
by
Mark
y'all.
Jackson was ahead of Chris
No,
Paul.
I'm
I said
disgusted.
these. I said these are names.
You pump faked over my question because you know you're dead ass wrong. You just sitting here like piggybacking off of everything he's saying smart, but he's not. He's thinking he's bringing up coaching and he's bringing up these big words and shit like that when he's absolutely motherfucking wrong. There's no and it's not even close. And that's what I'm saying.
What's that close? What's that close? Because now we're going to go there. What's that close?
We sat here.
Why is Chris Paul so
No.
great?
What's that close?
We sat
What's
here
that
for
close?
15 minutes and discussed, like I told you, 1C niggas to 1A.
So Rondo's a 1C.
You know, but it's not that he's a 1C.
It's not about
You know he's a 1C
that
nigga.
1C versus 1A conversation don't really mean anything because you got 1Bs better than 1As. Because you got Joe Dumars who is better than James. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's situations in real life where you got Scottie Pippins are better than. Scottie Pippen is a 1B, right? And he'll be better than who? A Dominique Wilkins,
That's
right?
not where I'm going with it.
Right?
Where I'm going with it is this.
Scottie
Right?
Pippen would be a better player than Dominique Wilkins, right? But Dominique Wilkins had more responsibility, right?
More responsibility.
But why is Scottie Pippen better?
Defensive.
He was better. Scottie Pippen was
Scottie Pippen better than who?
Dominique Wilkins. But Scottie Pippen is not a 1A though, according to his argument.
I'm not going.
Because he's trying.
I'm not going.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going.
So that 1A argument doesn't make the all-time. That's not a part of the all-time argument. That's
Because
not how
Rondo
you,
had a
that's not how
chance
you
to
gauge it.
do. Rondo had a chance to be that, and he could. You know he couldn't run a team like the way. And then you
Run a team?
Thank you.
He couldn't run a team like Chris Paul.
Yes, he could.
He couldn't run a team like
Yes,
Chris
he
Paul.
could.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, he
Let me ask you a question.
could.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, he
Oh,
could.
What?
shit. You've never done it for
No,
yourself.
let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. Let me ask you a question. What's your definition? What's your definition of running the team? What's your definition of running the
Yeah.
team?
Being the 1A.
Being the 1A.
And then
You
doing
the
what?
guy. You the guy.
Is Rajon Rondo not a basketball savant?
Yes.
Okay. Is Chris Paul not a basketball savant?
Yes.
So why hasn't it translated in their careers to more wins for the other?
Because Chris Paul is a nigga in the
Give me some,
NBA.
nigga.
Chris Paul is a nigga in the NBA. You build the team around. Rondo is a nigga that build. I mean, you bring him to build around. Rondo was brought in to the Boston Celtics squad to be the point guard to the KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. He got brought into LA when he run the shit with LeBron and AD to be the point guard off the bench, to be basically Bron on the bench. Don't tell me he's been 1A in any of his stops ever in his one.
If you looked at
That's
that,
why I asked you.
and this is when you gotta watch the games. My fault, Dad, but this is when you gotta watch the games. If you watch the 2020, this is recent. If you watch the 2020, all right, this might be biased, but
I know
what I'm
it's
about to say,
biased.
Mike.
Everything you say is biased.
If you watch the 2020 playoffs, who was the second most impactly player?
So it wasn't
Rondo.
AD.
I don't
On that
know.
Lakers
So
squad?
I don't know.
Rondo.
It was
Rondo.
Rondo. It was Rondo because if anything, Dwight Howard he had
Right.
moments where he
And
was
then
more.
Dwight, yeah.
Dwight Howard had impactful moments just like AD. AD had moments too, but Dwight Howard had moments too. But the most
So
consistent,
Rondo was more impactful
the
than
most
AD.
consistent,
Yeah.
impactful player on that 2020
That
playoff
nigga's
Rondo
team, bro.
was Rondo.
On that
You gotta
Lakers
watch
team.
it. I'm telling you, bro.
Bro, you got league
Hold on.
pass, bro.
Y'all end this when y'all want to end it. 'Cause it's-
He got league pass. You can
Oh,
watch this
man.
shit, bro.
Listen, man, on that note, walk with me. We be
He just took a walk.
Matter of fact, fuck that. That ain't gonna cap the episode right here, man. This has been one of the most controversial episodes we've had. Top 10 point guards. We didn't even get the top 10 championship guards. Wow. Yo, my God, Tyler God, my D-Love, listen, man. JD, what's up? Hey, your boy. Safety, love, and stay bright, yo.